Good morning, Zim Riders. A lot of questions about entities. What are the differences and what it really means, how to find them, what they are. So, as you saw on Facebook this morning, I posted that song, Apple Bottom Jeans. So that's today's subject matter here. I went with it because the song was on the radio. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's an actual brand. That's a gene. That's a entity. Let's run with it." Wifey and I were laughing about it, so we figured, okay, let's do this. So let's look at a couple things. When you are creating your schema and you're trying to do your entity types, I know I've talked about a couple websites that help create your schema for you, and so let's look at two things that generally most people use when citing entities and schema. Google built its knowledge graph based off of Wikipedia and many other sources, but any page that has that exists in Wikipedia technically is an entity. So let's pull up Apple Bottom Jeans. So this is an actual entity, and when you create that in your schema, and you'll notice in the past when we use entities website here, the entities checker, when you scan a page, I don't know if it's going to be able to do this as an example, but I'll try it out. But when you scan your article, it goes through, it looks at some of the entities you have, it tries to extract them. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think it'd be able to do something like that. They probably have them blocked. So let's do something from my site here as an example. Ooh, we can do Prius article. Let the submit, scan. I believe I already have some entities on it, so it's going to recognize some things already. So there we go. There's the title, the owner, blah, blah, blah. Pulls out the H2s, H3s. So it already knows a bunch of things. Here's your entities by frequency, and you can basically just download all the topics, categories, even just the entities when you go to apply it. Oh no, let's not do that. Is there a Prius in here? Because I'm trying to show you something specific. There we go. And it's that particular model, so it even knows that, which is pretty cool. Oh, are you kidding me? Well, fine, we'll just choose anything. I hope the volume's okay. I know people keep asking about it. I moved the mic around. I changed some settings on the mic, trying to see what I can do. Anyhow, so the about entities. Let's pull this out real quick. Open this bad boy up, and look how they quote there's the places they're citing their data the same as. Okay, so in this case, we are talking about a thing. I quoted that it's using this, and if you click on Wikidata, here's this. This is, you're saying that is what this article is about or mentioning, but in this case, because it's the primary one, you're saying that's what it's mostly about. And it's not. What does it have to do? But it's got some good information on here. This is, Google has worked hard to try and make sure, that all their data is accurate as possible. So when you're citing these entities in your schema, you're doing exactly what they're doing. If you have to manually make these, more than welcome. Go here, go to this website, drop anything in, have it make a demo of one for you, and modify it yourself. The description, I don't know where it's technically from, but I'm sure you can find one on Wikipedia. And I highly doubt, I mean, you could rewrite it or something, but I doubt it doesn't count as duplicate content because it's in your schema. Its schema's different, at least for now. So you can copy this format and you can cite your own sources. Now, let me tell you something interesting. It doesn't just have to be that you're citing Wikipedia or Wikidata. Believe it or not, you can create your own knowledge graph. So say you're a business that has a custom name, like I was doing the barbecue stuff, remember? So there was like a Flame Watch, I think is their technology or something. And so they actually have a definition of that. It's trademark, it's all that good stuff. So they can put, and two things you can do here. You can create a glossary of terms basically on your website, or, you create a bunch of individual static pages. Either way, you can cite that in your schema just like this as your source, so it knows what it's talking about. And on that page, you want to be very factual and all that good stuff. I mean, Google doesn't really validate factual information on individual private companies and corporations' products. Does that make sense? Realistically, if 9 million websites are talking about the same product and they're all saying the same thing, that makes sense. But if you're creating a new product or a new term or technology of some sort, that this is when that type of use case applies. I have or don't have anymore. I used to have a toy manufacturer as a client, and they had their own terms. They had their own glossary of definitions for certain parts and pieces, and that was just for I believe it was just the manufacturing side. So general public, it meant nothing, but it was important to them to have that information. So that is an option that you have. They wanted all their customers and client base, manufacturers and everything else to be able to all use that same exact data, and it would never be wrong. This is why some corporations create media kits and media press release kits. It has all their official logos and signs and terms, how they can be used, how they can be applied. And you have that same ability. So if you've got a client with a specific use case, or even for yourself, I know some people like to make up their own magical terms. I have a massage therapist friend. I maintain her website, and she has her own magic terms for magic healing touches and stuff like that. And so for her, that was important. She's trying to develop a new form of massage therapy as time goes on. She's actually got a PhD. She's doing research, like actual research. And so she's trying to come up with these terms and creating her own explanations, definitions of what those terms mean. And so created a knowledge base for her. And it works, it's an internal linking system, and not really caring about schema for her site because it's, not really all that important to her, and she ranks in what she's looking for. But if you're trying to make sure that Google understands what you're talking about, you got to have those matching entities. So in this case, the entity for this is the hybrid synergy drive. But we also know that this belongs to Toyota. So Toyota is an entity. You're probably going to want to have that mentioned in the article. I mean, that is who uses it, who develops it, makes it. So same thing with Lexus and a couple of others. So have matching entities in your subject matter. I shared the script that I'm working on, as I've mentioned before, trying to build a page so people can make use of it in the course. This helps you find those entities and matching terms that go with this. And this isn't the only way to do that too. You see me mention other times, we'll do a Google search. Same thing. You can find your other entities along here. Sometimes they'll be mentioned here, like the to system. But Google's going to point out things to you. Hybrids by itself is an entity. But that's what you're trying to do. You're just building out this, sourcing it. Now, there's also a technique for using entities for internal linking. I may go into that later. It can be a little more advanced. It has positives and negatives. Just like when people use the tagging system in WordPress, people complain about that and the negativities and, you know, too many pages of trying to make Google figure out what's going on. Million opinions about that. But there is a way to, you can create specific pages that are talking about specific entities and projects and related articles that make sense. But there is a better way to do that, and I'll go into that in a future video. Anyhow, I hope you all have a great day. This is I will be doing an interview with someone, an owner of a company. He's in an advertising space, and he has been using ZimWriter successfully with his business. So I will have him on and talk about a little bit what he's doing. He's got a couple of products as well. One of them, I think the ZimWriter community will actually find some benefit to. And we'll learn more about that later today. Anyhow, have a great day, everyone.